It was the mid-1990s, and Subaru car sales numbers were not looking good. The company's marketing strategy had just died in a fit of irony. To reverse its fortunes, Subaru of America had tried something new. While the company was known for plain but dependable cars, it had created its first luxury car, a sleek sports car by the name SVX. To introduce the new sports car to the market, Subaru enlisted the help of a trendy advertising agency, Wieden and Kennedy of Portland, Oregon. The company spent $70 million in a marketing campaign to redefine its image. The aim of the campaign was to transform Subarus from reliable but not necessarily fashionable cars into the vehicle for the smarter set. However, the new approach fell flat when the ad agency took irony too far. One ad touted the new sports car's top speed of 140 miles per hour and then asked, "How important is that? With extended urban gridlock, gas at $1.38 a gallon, and highways full of patrolmen."
Making a sports car, it seems mandatory to mention how fast it can go. All right, with an overhead cam engine capable of producing 223 pounds of torque, the new Subaru SVX can reach speeds in excess of 140 miles an hour. But how important is that? With extended urban gridlock, gas at $1.38 a gallon, and highways full of patrolmen.
The advertising agency had to go. After firing the hip ad agency, Subaru of America changed its approach. Rather than compete directly with Ford, Toyota, and other large car makers, executives decided to focus on marketing Subaru cars to niche groups. For example, outdoor enthusiasts loved the fact that Subaru cars could handle dirt roads. This search for niche groups led Subaru to the third rail of marketing. They discovered that lesbians loved their cars. Lesbians loved Subaru for their dependability and size, and even the name Subaru.
Yes, new car, super stoked, yay!
Woo! And it's a Subaru, which makes me happy. I don't know why, I just really wanted a Subaru.
Now you feel really gay.
Yeah, basically. Like the video for Subaru because we joined the cult.
Yay!
Internal company data showed that lesbians were 4 times more likely than the average consumer to buy a Subaru. This was the type of discovery that the small, struggling automaker was looking for. But Subaru had been looking for niche groups like skiers and kayakers, not lesbian couples. The big question was, should the company make advertisements for gay customers? At the time, in the mid-1990s, few celebrities were openly out. Yet Subaru decided to launch an ad campaign focused on lesbian customers. This was such an unusual decision that turned out to be such a success that it pushed gay and lesbian advertising from the fringes to the mainstream. If you've ever wondered why people joke about lesbians driving Subarus, the reason is not that lesbians like Subarus, is that Subaru cultivated its image as a car for lesbians and did so at a time when very few companies or willing to embrace or even acknowledge their gay customers.
We love getting our Outback dirty, because it seems like the dirtier it gets, the more it shines.
The Subaru Outback, Motor Trend's 2010 Sport Utility of the Year.
So, how do you advertise a car that journalists describe as sturdy if drab? That was the question that Subaru of America executives faced in the 1990s. After attempts to bring up the company's declining sales with the introduction of a luxury sports car and a hip, young ad agency failed, Subaru turned into a niche marketing strategy. Instead of competing with every car maker over the same demographic of white, 18 to 35-year-olds living in the suburbs, Subaru will target niche groups of people who particularly loved their cars. In the 1990s, Subaru's unique characteristic was that the market increasingly made all-wheel drive standard on all its cars.
Legacy is available with full-time four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes, because the best way to survive an accident is not to get into one.
When Subaru marketers went searching for people willing to pay a premium for all-wheel drive, they identified 4 core groups who are responsible for half of the company's American sales. These were teachers and educators, healthcare professionals, IT professionals, and rugged individualists, or those who we can call the outdoor C-types. The team then discovered a 5th group that was driving Subaru car sales: lesbians.
My name's Tim Bennett. I am the finance manager.
According to Tim Bennett, who worked as director of advertising at the time, when they did their research, they discovered a significant number of people living in areas like Northampton, Massachusetts, and Portland, Oregon, owned Subarus. These people were mainly single parents, head of the household, and were often women. When Subaru marketers talked to these customers, they realized that these women buying Subarus were lesbians. The marketers found that lesbian Subaru owners liked that the cars were good for outdoor trips and that they were good for hauling stuff without being as large as a truck or a SUV. In a point that some women might not like as much, marketers also said that Subaru's dependability was a good fit for lesbians since they didn't have a man who could fix car problems. The lesbians felt it fit them and it wasn't too flashy. Many of the lesbians even felt an affinity with the name. Subaru is the Japanese name for the 6-star constellation known as Pleiades. When Kenji Kita, the CEO of Subaru's parent company, Fuji Heavy Industries, chose the name in 1954, he chose it to represent how 6 Japanese companies had merged to form Fuji Heavy Industries. But in English, the constellation is also known as the Seven Sisters, the same name as a group of American women's colleges. Subaru hired an advertising agency, Moon City Productions in New York City, to handle only its ads aimed at gay and lesbian consumers. The company's strategy was to target these 5 groups by creating ads based on what its cars appealed to each. For example, for medical professionals, a Subaru with all-wheel drive could get them to the hospital in any weather. For rugged individualists or the outdoor C-types, a Subaru could handle that road and haul gear. And for lesbians, a Subaru fit their active, low-key lifestyle. However, there was a problem. The proposal to market Subaru cars to lesbians wasn't going to be easy even inside the company. It was easier to get senior management on board with making ads for hikers than for lesbians. The 1990s environment was much different from what it is today. At the time, there was no positive discussion of LGBT issues. Gay causes seemed to be on the losing side of the culture war. The Clinton administration had just created its Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy regarding homosexuality in the military, and in 1996, Congress will pass the Defense of Marriage Act. Pop culture also had yet to embrace the LGBT scene. Mainstream movies and TV shows with gay characters like Will and Grace were still a few years away, and a few celebrities were openly gay. When Ellen DeGeneres became a rare exception in 1997, and her character in the show Ellen came out as gay in an episode of the sitcom, many companies pulled their ads.
Can't I say the word? I mean, why can't I just say... I mean, what is wrong? Why do I have to be so ashamed? I mean, why can't I just say the truth? I mean, be who I am. I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
One of the companies was Chrysler. At the time, Megan Gills, a spokeswoman for Chrysler, said, "We don't think it is a smart business decision to be advertising in an environment that is so polarized. The environment around this is so angry, we feel we lose no matter what we do." Gay-friendly advertising was largely limited to the fashion and alcohol industries. When a 1994 IKEA ad featured a gay couple, the American Family Association mounted boycotts, and someone called in a fake bomb threat on an IKEA store.
For years, I met Steve at my sister's wedding. A leaf means staying together, commitment. We've got another leaf waiting when we really start getting along.
Today, this IKEA ad of a gay couple shopping for a dining room table seems mundane. But in 1994, the film crew was tense, and its airing incited backlash and a New York Times opinion editorial. As marketer Paul Pooks explains, the attitude of most businesses towards LGBT advertising was, "Why would you do something like that? You'll be known as the gay company." In the 1990s, Pooks worked with Mulriana Nash, an agency that specialized in the gay market. Early in his career, he made cold calls to ask companies for their business. In an interview, Paul explained that all the rules of marketing went out of the window at this fear of marketing to gays and lesbians. People will choke up on the phone when he asked them for business. It was tough. It was in this context that Subaru marketers like Tim Bennett and Director of Marketing Tim Mahoney hired Mulriana Nash, the ad agency, and pitched Subaru's Japanese management on ads for lesbian consumers. Reporter Ron Dicker aptly captured some of the cultural confusion that followed. When one Subaru adman, Tim Mahoney, proposed the gay targeting ads in talks with Japanese executives, the executives hurriedly looked up gay in their dictionaries. Upon reading the definition, they nodded at the idea enthusiastically. Who wouldn't want happy or joyous advertising? It was certainly a learning process for everyone, Bennett said. Bennett, who is gay, said they never faced disrespect within Subaru, but he did not reveal his sexual orientation, fearing it would overshadow the effort, and it took a year and a half to get everyone at Subaru on board. For a car company, openly marketing to gay customers still felt new, if not taboo. A 50-year-old business conglomerate like Fuji Heavy Industry, the parent company of Subaru, is not normally where you'd look for a leader in social progress. But the corporate environment did have its advantages. For starters, there was a great business case for the marketing campaign. Subaru was struggling, and its niche marketing campaign was Plan A for redemption. The internationalism of global business also had its advantages. The Subaru team knew they had to support their gay and lesbian employees if they wanted to appeal to lesbian customers. So they scheduled a meeting with a senior Japanese executive to make the case for domestic partnership benefits. Bennett and his colleague had prepared to argue their case at length, but the meeting lasted 20 seconds only. The executive, who had worked for Subaru in Canada, already knew about benefits for same-sex couples. He said, "Yeah, that's fine. We did that in Canada years ago. Anything else?" By 1996, Subaru ads created by the Mulray Nash ad agency were appearing both in gay publications and mainstream media. However, the marketing team worried about conservatives boycotting their cars. Subaru developed a public stance. Since Subaru sold cars to a diverse and well-educated group of people, their customers wouldn't be offended by the ads. But the ads weren't universally well received. One conservative motoring magazine scornfully wrote, "Car buyers should know that Subaru takes its role as the most pro-homosexual car company very seriously." Inside Subaru of America, not everyone was united on the effort. There was public backlash, and the campaign survived naysayers inside Subaru only because Tim Bennett's team really cared about the project and they had the support of straight allies in the company. And the Subaru company line did have some truth to it. In response to the ads, Subaru received letters from a grassroots group that accused it of promoting homosexuality. Everyone who penned a letter said they'd never buy a Subaru again. But the marketing team quickly discovered that none of the people threatening a boycott had ever bought a Subaru. Some of them didn't even know how to spell Subaru. Like nerds who grow up to confront their bullies, Subaru executives realized that the same people opposing the acknowledgement of gays and lesbians were not as imposing as they seemed. The affinity for lesbians towards Subarus is a popular punchline. Just like wearing bucket socks, is the stuff of Saturday Night Live sketches and self-deprecating jokes about lesbian stereotypes.
I'm gonna drive my Subaru Outback into Red Square doing donuts and blasting Melissa Etheridge.
Subaru's seminal role in gay advertising is famous in the business and marketing world, but the car maker's role in cultivating its lesbian-friendly image is less well known among lay people. That's likely because so many straight people are blind to the advertisements. For their first Subaru ads, Mulray and Nash hired women to portray lesbian couples, but the ads didn't get good reaction from lesbian audiences. What worked were winks and nudges. One ad campaign showed Subaru cars that had license plates that said Xena Lover. That's a reference to Xena, Warrior Princess, a TV show whose female protagonist seemed to be lovers. Or P-Town, a moniker for Provincetown, Massachusetts, which is a popular LGBT vacation spot. Many ads had taglines with double meanings. Get out and stay out could refer to exploring the outdoors in a Subaru or coming out as gay. It's not a choice, it's the way we are built could refer to all Subarus coming with all-wheel drive or LGBT identity. Every year that the company put out the campaigns, it learned more about the target audience. Buyers appreciated the playful coding. They loved deciphering it. The delight among niche audience groups in uncoding the hints in Subaru ads surprised the marketing team, and in the case of its gay-friendly ads, so did the ignorance of straight audiences. While gay and lesbian consumers loved the shoutouts in the license plates, straight people will only notice features like a bike rack. Paul Pooks, who helped come up with the license plate idea, says he held focus groups with straight audiences where he'd showed ads featuring gay couples. Even after an hour of talking about gay issues, the audience would still think that a man was shopping with his uncle. In articles at the time, Subaru executives said they felt uncertain about the intrigue created by the perception of secret coding. But there was some comfort to the fact that the gay marketing went under the radar. As more companies began marketing to LGBT audiences, secret coding became something of a playbook known by the term gay vogue, a way for companies to reach queer audiences with minimal risk of conservative backlash. This famous Volkswagen ad, which was perceived as gay-friendly, is incredibly subtle, but it aired in 1997 during the famous coming-out episode of the sitcom Ellen. That said, Subaru did not hide its support of gay and lesbian customers. While Volkswagen played coy about whether an ad perceived as gay-friendly really portrayed a gay couple, Subaru sponsored events like gay pride parades, partnered with the Rainbow Card, a credit card that instead of cashback offered donations to gay and lesbian causes, and had Martina Navratilova, a lesbian and former tennis pro, to appear in Subaru ads. Martina's role in Subaru ads held a level of poignancy. She had been publicly outed against her will, and while she spoke honestly about her identity, she had lamented that gay athletes had to hide in the closet to sell themselves to Madison Avenue. For her to become the face of a car company during her retirement because she did not hide that she was gay was a beautiful full circle moment. Subaru's gay and lesbian focused marketing campaign was a hit, and the company's efforts continue today. Not only is the association between lesbians and Subaru part of pop culture, but in focus groups and online polls, gay and lesbian customers consistently choose Subaru vehicles as their favorite cars, or Subaru as the most gay-friendly brand. As one participant put it, Martina Navratilova is a spokesperson. What more do you want? That reputation translated into financial success. A Harvard case study on the lesbian-focused ad campaign noted that Subaru's flat sales turned into steady growth. The case study cited that even during the 2006 recession, Subaru was the only car company not to lose market share. In 2016, Subaru's parent company rebranded the entire company under the Subaru name due to the car's surging popularity. In the 2010s, only Tesla grew faster than Subaru, which led Subaru's president to worry about Subaru could get too big. Lesbians buying Subaru cars did not single-handedly resurrect the car maker. Lesbians were just one of the 5 niche groups that Subaru targeted in the 90s. But the gay market was one of the best for Subaru. The car maker tracked the effectiveness of its niche marketing by partnering with 40 to 50 organizations like outdoor associations and the Rainbow Card to offer discounts on Subaru cars. According to Tim Bennett, every year the LGBT organizations were in the top 5 in terms of cars sold. Subaru was not the first company to create advertisements for gay and lesbian consumers, but it was the first major company in the United States to do so transparently and consistently. Subaru's lesbian-focused ad campaign was widely discussed in the New York Times, Washington Post, and trade magazines, and its success helped spur wild growth in gay and lesbian marketing. By the early 2000s, marketers were writing articles that called gays and lesbians an underserved market and perfect consumers. It was an uncomfortable embrace. The perception of the gay market as a goldmine relied on a misperception of all gay people as part of dual income, no kids couples. A number of academics criticized corporate America's embrace of the LGBT community as commodification. While companies wanted the profits that came from the marketing a gay sense of lifestyle, they focused on upper class and white gay identities, never gay people of color or those unable to afford medical treatments for HIV and AIDS. However, in this case, it's heartening that the origins of lesbian stereotypical affinity for Subaru is not a cynical marketing campaign, but a progressive one. In a sense, all Subaru did was notice a group of customers and create ads for them. But that was a big deal. Subaru's ad campaign acknowledged a group that often felt unwelcome and invisible. So today, which group is next?